Hi, I'm Words here, and I'm making a game. Wee! Look at that. I fixed it. No big deal. Could have actually shown me fixing it. Couldn't think of it, because it was actually not that big of a fix. I had to change a few things around. Oh, let's see. The way I was doing it, I was not actually normalizing the height, as well as the direction, like I wasn't normalizing the Y, I guess is what I would say, as well as the X. So it didn't actually work right at all. So I fixed that really quick, simple, done. Now I just had to actually start adding other things. Well, I'll explain a little better, maybe. Yeah, I don't really need to. I mean, that's all it is. I had to add the Y. I had to subtract out the height, like, of the thing from the height of the thing, and then, so, like, right before it was saying, like, if this was 20 high, it was multiplying 20 by the thing, and this time, so what I did was I subtracted, like, the height of it, of the lower node from the height of the taller node, and then that's what I multiplied it by, then I added back in the height of the lower node so that you actually got the height of this actual, like, position. There. See? Done. Explained. Moving on. You get no more. The line is drawn here. Go no further. I can't remember that line, actually. There were 4 lights. Sorry. I remember that one. Let's see. Okay. So now what we need to make... I'm going to make him jump. I'm going to make him jump. And not press the start button. Jump. Jumping. Yes. Jumping. That's a good one. Space. That's what you do when you press space to jump. That's how that works. You just do quite often. I don't know. It doesn't matter what I set it to, does it? So this is actually kind of interesting. Here's how this is going to work out. It should work if all I have to do is I have to say vert speed equals whatever I said that was. I probably called it jump speed. This should be all I need to do. It's not it's gonna not work somehow. I know something's gonna be wrong about this. Actually, minus, because I have to. If you're going up, you're subtracting in this, because 0, 0, the origin is in the top left. Come on. Boop, boop. I set the jump a little low. Right now you can jump infinitely, because I didn't tell it to worry about that. Woo! I'll fix that in a minute. For some reason you can't always jump either. I don't know, I was having trouble. Yeah, I can't jump if I'm standing still. That's weird. That's weird. But yeah, otherwise I guess it sort of works. Let's see. Let's do a few things. First off, jump speed, make it like 20. Yeah. Cha. Ha. And then Oh, I know. I know. Ooh, I know. Okay. Okay, you can't jump because you can only jump when you're moving, because when you're moving, you're actually not necessarily attached to the ground. It's because you're kind of constantly falling when you're moving to meet the new position. That's why when I move, I'm able to jump all of a sudden. But when I can't, because I'm on the ground. It doesn't do the check for this. So what I'm going to do is not on ground. If you're not on the ground, or vert speed is less than 0, let's say. So now if you're moving upwards or you're not on the ground, it'll actually do all these checks. So now I should be able to jump from a standstill. I haven't actually added in the other part though, which I'll do in a minute, but which is going to be so that you can't jump when you're already in the air. Whee! I can jump from a standstill. The basic jump, where you can just move around, whatever. Fuck it. Fuck it. And you can also do this. Haha. I'm goddamn magic. Okay. We have to add a check to make it so it can't do that. We're going to say if if on ground, there. Actually, we should do that just to be sure. There, so now if you're on the ground, you can jump. Otherwise, you can't. There's some other things I'm going to want to do. I'm going to make it so that pressing and holding space will make it so you jump higher. I want to make it so that you don't have quite as much control while in the air. And oh my god. Oh my god! Why does it not work? I can't jump when I'm moving now? Is that what I was seeing? I know why! The same reason. Oh, I'll have to fix that. Gotta fix that. Gotta fix that. That's not right. Gotta fix that. Fix it. Ah. Okay, so I can't do it that way. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna say, if vert speed is is 0. Which means, well, this won't work either, but we're gonna leave it at that for now. Because there's actually, if I press it just right, there it is. See that? If you jump just at the top of the, if you jump again at just at the top of the jump, I want to see if I can do it 3 times. You can, where jump, where your vertical speed equals 0 again at the top of the jump as gravity pulls you back down. You reach 0 again, and you can jump again. So that's not going to work either. Oh, neither one works. But I can maybe use a combination. Well, what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to try to figure out a way to make it so that I can test if I'm on the ground without, even when I'm moving left and right. I might actually make it so that it does a, let's see. It might, oh, I know what to do. Okay. I'm going to make it so that it does something to check if you're on the ground before you move, then do a check to snap you to the ground after you move if you were. So we're going to say G. That's what we're going to make a variable G. We're going to say G equals on ground. And then we'll say if G, so if you were on the ground before the move, then we want you to say and we'll snap you to it. So that way if you were on the ground before, you'll snap to the ground, which doesn't work either because I didn't want it to work like that though. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't like that either. Whew, wow, I'm going to have to, we're doing a lot of 2 steps forward, 3 steps back stuff here. Because I had to figure out a way to make it so that I can jump when I'm moving, but not while I'm already in the air. But if you're moving, you're in the air. Oh, it's actually kind of a complicated issue. What situation in which I'd figured a situation in which the exact situation in which you want to be, you're able to jump. It's not necessarily that you're on the ground, because the only time you're technically on the ground for like certain is because you're standing still. But when you start moving, it adjusts you for where the ground is. I could make it so that as long as you're moving on between the same nodes, it doesn't worry about it. Like it just assumes you're on the ground and snaps you to it. And then if you moved past that node, that way if this node goes like this, and it's like a sheer drop, and you keep moving this way, you'll fall off. as opposed to snapping to it. There's a couple ideas I got here, but I don't know if either of them will work. The idea is to see if you're actually on the ground. It's a more complicated issue than it seems. You're on the ground only when you're standing still and you fall to the ground. What could I do to fix this? I like the solution I was just thinking of. This is probably the best one I've come up with so far. So that way if I, walk this way, I'll snap to the ground. But then when I step this past that node, it will know to not actually snap me. Let's try that out. We'll do it only with right for now, just to test it. The idea is that it checks if I was on the ground first, so it says, does the thing I was doing before. On ground, so it tests if you're on the ground. And then it has to say, so first it tests if you're on the ground before you move. Then once you've moved, I want it to test to say, well, one thing I need to do then is I need to make it so that the node check might return something. Alright, I'll make it return true if it does move it, and return false if it doesn't. Simple. Simple. Do the same thing for the other one really quick just so I don't forget. So now that will return true if it increments or decrements the node that the character is supposed to be on. So now what we can say is if you actually change nodes, what we could say is if not. So if you don't change nodes, if you're still on the same one and before you were on the ground, if not that and G, then Y equals ground height. Otherwise, it will not worry about it. And yeah, we'll worry about left in a little bit. Alright, let's hope this works. If on ground, now this will create a situation where you'll essentially be able to, well, we'll see. Okay, so I can jump. Oh, I can't jump while moving right still. Yeah. I should be able to jump while moving right now, but it doesn't work. It does not work. Let's see what I did wrong. Check right. If not, node check right. So if node is not incremented, and G, and you're on the ground, then Y is ground height. It should ground you. Well, that's actually, that's kind of crazy. Because I don't see why that wouldn't work. Because actually, I thought I actually tried this before and it had worked. X plus equals speed, X. If not node, check right, and G. Let's check if it's actually working at all. I'm putting in the show message. It'll show me a message while I'm pressing right if this is actually working. Boop. It is. So it's actually snapping you to the ground every time you press, well, as long as you're pressing right and you're still on the same node. We could actually test really quick. This will take a minute. So I'd inch my way up to this node. But it should, when you pass it, interesting. It didn't actually do what I thought it would. I thought when you passed it, it would this would come out true, and it would not actually do this part, but it did do it. So in theory, your Y is actually snapping to the ground height. As you move right. And because of that, it should, even as you're pressing right, be equal. So since you're on the ground, you should be able to jump. I don't see why not. Well, that's very interesting, isn't it? But you can't. Let's try digging with this a little more. We'll remove this and move it back up here. So I think this is the way it was before, and this should work. Because I swear I just tried this and it had, but I didn't like it for various reasons. It doesn't work. I must have removed it before I even tested it because I thought, oh, that's dumb. If the idea is that if it was on the ground before the move, then it will stick you to the ground after the move. So that, because you're on the ground and then you're on the ground again. The idea is, anyway. But it doesn't work. It does not work. Oh my. In theory, this should be happening first, and it should say, okay, move you right that much. You know what might actually fix this, and this is why I actually said before that it was a dumb idea to do this, and the way I was doing it just for illustration purposes, I guess, to say, you know, this is how you make games in Game Maker. I would usually actually do all this stuff in the step function, and this is kind of why. It's a lot easier to figure out what happens when if you're doing it all in the same bit of code. Because with that stuff, I mean, it shows. I could have sworn the events were in the order in which they occur here, but apparently not, because this should be happening first, and then it should snap you to the ground, and Y is equal to ground height. I know this for a fact. And then this does on ground, which checks whether or not I might have just figured this out. I forgot about something simple. Something I didn't actually mention before. Something pretty obvious now. When it actually in order to keep your character on the ground proper, instead of kind of in like halfway through the ground, I add this little bit of code where it factors in the height of your sprite. And by adding that, it should now be snapping you to the ground the same way that the normal snap does. And you should be able to jump while moving right. I figured it out. Yes, that was totally worth an entire video. Oh my. And here's the thing, I don't know how much, I didn't start the timer at the right time, so I don't know how much time I've left. Probably, I have at least someplace around 10 minutes left, I think. But I'm going to quickly I'm going to mention because I just thought of it. As you can tell, I'm working right now on this game, which is nothing, it has nothing to do with the game I started working on, and that's because this is what I do. I get bored of a game and I start working on something else. I just do. And So you shouldn't expect me, you shouldn't anticipate me still I won't necessarily be working on this next video, but I might be. And here's the thing, I might not actually like do these in chronological order. If I finish with this and I start working on another idea I have, which I have plenty of ideas, and then I come back to this, I might put that video about this back here so that it's after this one, and then later you'll see the thing that I did before that, like that. I don't know. So don't anticipate me, don't expect me to be, finishing this up next video necessarily. just a heads up. So anyway, yeah. So that fixed that on this side, and now I have to make sure I've got this actually working the way I want it to. I actually had taken out a bit of code just a minute ago where it does this check in here, like that. And now it will only snap you if you're actually, so I should be able to still jump like that, and everything else is working so far. Oh, but here's the thing, here's the special case. If you try to jump just as you pass this node, I just got it to work, and it won't work anymore. It's incredibly rare, but it's the sort of thing, like I just did it. It's the sort of thing I can't let that slide. I had to figure out a special case for it, or something. But like, I need to figure out like maybe tell it, if a node is like a sheer drop or not. It might. I was actually what I did before. I was actually going to have what I did on the previous time I'd actually made this. I actually kept little information about it. So I had like a type for each node, little bits of information in the list, and like let's say type 0 equals floor, and this is going to actually fix the problem I was just having, because I'm going to do this differently. Type 0 equals floor, and then type 1 is going to be, say, wall. And if it's a wall, what it'll do is it'll actually factor that into whether or not you're able to jump and that sort of thing. So like, instead, as you press right, it's going to do this check to see if you're on a new node, right? And then, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have to completely change this a bit. First, I would actually move this up here again, and it actually doesn't even need to do the return, doesn't have to return anything. And instead of this, we're going to have to actually say if dot level node type level node is 0. So now it's going to snap you to the ground as long as you're as long as it's a type 0 node, which means that that's type 0 is floor, is what we're saying here. And you'll snap to it as long as you're moving left and right. Well, actually, in this case, only left. I'll fix it so it works on left or right. I mean, it only worked on left, or I mean right. Gah, jeez, before. So I'm going to fix it so that it works either way. Now, there. So now it'll snap you to the floor if you're on the floor, and it is a floor. But I'm going to actually change it so that I'm going to add another node to my level here. Let's say he's at divided by, we'll say and then we should round it. So now we're actually going to put those two nodes at different places, but I'm going to make the second node, or actually it's the third node, I'm going to make it a type 1. 1, 1, node X, and we're gonna get another node. So there's 4 nodes in total now. And then we'll say this guy is... Wait, actually, we'll make this guy the wall and this guy the last bit of floor at the end. Well, yeah, that works, yeah. Okay, anyway, room width, and we'll say... something, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. There. Work. Well, let's see what it looks like for now. First. Put it too low. Oh my. Actually, that's not even how I want it to look anyway. Oh, this is going to take a minute. Maybe I should pause it for this, because I'm going to have to figure out a few things. Okay. I think I've got this figured out. I changed the nodes properly this time, so that they should now show up thusly, which they'll actually, I already looked at it, so I already know they're going to work this time. Ta-da! So okay, here we have this node is floor, which makes this whole area floor, so I can move left and right and jump around all I want. This node is set to 1 for wall, and it's a sheer drop here. This node is set to 0 again, so this is all floor again. And as you'll see, I can jump around on here, la 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 la, and then I fall here, and I can't jump, and I fall off. Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat? And then watch this. Watch how awesome I am. Oh, but yeah, but it's still, you know, it's a work in progress, obviously. But I actually kind of like how that does actually end you up there. I'm surprised that it doesn't freak out any more than that. But yeah, see, I made a little sheer drop there, and you can move left and right, and I don't actually show it, but if here, because I didn't make enough nodes to show it, but if there were one more node like around here, where this was like a little higher up, it doesn't matter, as long as it's floor, you'll snap to it, as long as you're moving when you're moving left and right. And you can still jump. And then you can't jump if it's a wall, where you'll, see? I can jump off of it, but if I fall off, I can't jump until I hit the ground again. Neat, isn't it? Isn't that neat? Kinda like that. I like that. Do you like that? You should subscribe if you like that. You should also like if you like that, because I like that. You should like if you like Deno Koyo. Fucking look at that dog. Look at that dog. Anyway. Yeah. See. Okay. Next time I'm gonna make it so that the wall actually acts as a wall. I think. And actually, I might do that right now, because this is actually kind of fun. This is the farthest I've ever gotten with this idea, actually. I never actually got quite this far. I might do platforms even, too. So, good day. Good day.